Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where we break down the latest shifts in the auto industry with horsepower and precision. Today, we're diving into a global economic showdown that's sending shockwaves through key industries. The US-China trade war has escalated beyond tariffs. It's a full-scale industrial power struggle, a battle for dominance in automotive, tech, and agriculture that could reshape global markets. What does this mean for businesses, consumers, and the future of trade? Stick around as we break down 7 major disruptions unfolding right now, especially the ones set to rock the American auto industry to its core. Impact number 7. America's auto industry hits a financial roadblock. No industry is feeling the pressure quite like the automotive sector. With Washington imposing 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, automakers are dealing with rising costs that threaten everything from production to pricing. These raw materials are essential in vehicle manufacturing, and when they get more expensive, so do the cars. Major players like Ford and GM are already warning that these inflated costs could lead to layoffs, factory closures, or sticker shock for consumers. The auto industry is already juggling EV transitions, semiconductor shortages, and supply chain chaos. Now, tariffs are adding another layer of uncertainty. Meanwhile, China isn't sitting idle. In response, they've slapped retaliatory tariffs on US auto exports, tightening the squeeze on manufacturers that rely on international markets. Tesla, Ford, and GM's expansion in China now faces serious roadblocks. The big question: can American automakers pivot fast enough, or will this trade war accelerate the decline of US manufacturing dominance? Impact number 6. The tech sector's supply chain meltdown. Silicon Valley is caught in a logistical nightmare. American tech giants rely heavily on Chinese-made components, from semiconductors to lithium-ion batteries, and with tariffs kicking in, production costs are skyrocketing. Companies like Apple are scrambling, shifting production to India and Vietnam, but the transition isn't seamless. And China is hitting back hard by limiting exports of rare earth minerals, which are essential for smartphones, EV batteries, and high-tech electronics. Without a stable supply of these crucial materials, US tech companies face slowdowns, increased costs, and global competitiveness risks. The fallout could fundamentally alter how tech products are designed, manufactured, and sold. The real question: is this the beginning of the end for China's manufacturing grip, or will American tech firms struggle to adapt? Impact number 5. American agriculture takes a direct hit. For US farmers, this trade war is an economic gut punch. Once a top buyer of American soybeans, pork, and other agricultural goods, China has turned off the tap, enforcing heavy retaliatory tariffs that have devastated exports. States like Iowa and Illinois, where farming is a backbone industry, are already feeling billions in losses. But here's the bigger issue: China is moving on. Instead of waiting for trade deals, Beijing is expanding supply chains, importing soybeans from Brazil, ramping up domestic pork production, and striking agricultural deals in Africa. By the time the trade war settles, US farmers might never reclaim their dominant market share. Will Washington cave under pressure and broker a deal? Or is this a permanent shift that leaves American agriculture struggling for years? Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. This helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now let's shift gears and steer towards our next point. Impact number 4. The currency chess game: US dollar versus Chinese yuan. Beyond tariffs and trade policies, this economic war is being played out in foreign exchange markets. China has strategically devalued the yuan, making its exports cheaper and more competitive despite US tariffs. Meanwhile, the US dollar is surging, making American-made products more expensive on the global market. This tit-for-tat battle in currency valuation is about more than just trade. It's a geopolitical maneuver that could destabilize global markets. Investors are bracing for major financial turbulence. If the yuan keeps dropping, it could trigger inflation, market volatility, and potential retaliatory measures from Washington. Could this economic war ignite a full-scale financial crisis? Or is it just another high-stakes battle in the US-China rivalry? Impact number 3, a global trade shakeup, winners and losers. While the US and China go head-to-head, other nations are stepping up. Manufacturing giants like Vietnam, Mexico, and Malaysia are attracting major investments as companies look for alternatives to Chinese supply chains. At the same time, Russia and Middle Eastern countries are strengthening their roles as energy suppliers to China, reducing Beijing's dependence on US oil and gas. Meanwhile, the European Union is walking a fine line, leveraging economic ties with both Washington and Beijing. This shift could permanently reshape global trade, leading to an extended economic Cold War between the world's two largest economies. For businesses and consumers, this means evolving supply chains, shifting trade agreements, and unpredictable market conditions. The real question: can these emerging economies take over China's manufacturing dominance, or is this just a temporary shuffle? Impact number 2, the political crossfire, Washington under pressure. This trade war isn't just about economics, it's a high-stakes political battle. China has been laser-focused on hitting industries that carry political weight in the US, targeting agriculture and manufacturing, two pillars of swing state economies. As elections loom, lawmakers are feeling the heat. Will Washington double down on tariffs, even at the risk of economic turmoil? Or will pressure from businesses and voters force a truce to stabilize markets? The next moves from US policymakers could set the tone for global trade for decades to come. Impact number 1, China's master plan. The long game unfolds. China isn't just playing defense, it's executing a well-planned economic shift. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing is expanding trade networks across Asia, Africa, and Europe, making massive investments to reduce reliance on US markets. At the same time, China is pushing for the yuan to gain status as a global reserve currency, challenging the dominance of the US dollar. If successful, this move could reshape global finance, undercutting America's economic leverage and altering the balance of power for generations. The pressing question: can the US counter Beijing's long-term economic play, or is this the start of a lasting global shift? Final verdict: a new economic reality? This is no longer just about tariffs and trade deficits. It's a full-blown industrial and geopolitical power struggle. The US auto industry is grappling with rising costs, American farmers are losing key export markets, and tech companies are rethinking supply chains. Meanwhile, China is forging new economic alliances and playing a long-term financial game that could reshape the global order. The stakes? Massive. Will the US pivot and reclaim its industrial dominance, or are we watching the dawn of a new economic hierarchy? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest automotive and economic insights. Thanks for tuning in to Piston Pundit, and we'll catch you in the next one.